Today's video is about understanding when you've crossed over from being a beginner basketball player to an intermediate basketball player. It's good to know where you are in that, basketball bell curve, right? Like at the beginning, there's a small percentage of players that are beginners. Like when you're a beginner, when you're starting to learn the game, alongside with you, there will be other players like in your area that are also beginners as well, but they're going to be a small percentage of people, right? When you become an intermediate player, right, now you're on that bell curve and there's a huge space with a huge large amount of people who are in that intermediate section of that bell curve. That's the vast majority of the people that you're going to encounter out here. And then on the other side of the bell curve, there's another small percentage of players who are the advanced players out here that you will encounter. But most players out here are casual players, right? They're not dialed into the game and their game the way we are, because they're only out here to have a good time and enjoy themselves. Well, while we're trying to do the same thing, but what makes this enjoyable for us is the process of trying to be the very best players we can be. And in order to do that, it's very important to know where you are on that curve, to know like what you still have to accomplish as a player. So today let's talk about how to know you've crossed over from being a beginner to an intermediate player. Now what you need to understand is when we're talking about outdoor recreational basketball, there is no real clear line between, okay, here you're a beginner, but then if you cross this imaginary line, you can do a certain amount of skills or abilities, now you're an intermediate player. It may be more clear and defining if you're talking about indoor actually organized players like high school and AAU. It may be easier to tell them, this player's beginner, and if you do this, if you have this set of skills and abilities, now you're an intermediate player. But out here, recreationally, there is no real defining way to decide that. So first of all, what we're talking about when we're trying to define what defines a beginner from an intermediate player, especially out here recreationally, we need to be comparing ourselves to the people, the players that we spend the most time around, competing with. Meaning like we shouldn't compare ourselves to like NBA players, because if NBA players fall into the advanced end of the bell curve, if like that's exclusively how you can be advanced, then how can we as outdoor recreational players, how can we ever, get to that advanced level? Like that would be impossible. If all we ever play is outdoor recreational basketball, then we're never going to be playing NBA basketball, which means we would never be advanced players. The other extreme example being like if you're in college, if you're college aged and you go to like a junior high school and play basketball against junior high school aged kids, well, to them, you're going to be advanced, even though, maybe to your own self, your own game, you still technically feel like a beginner, but to the junior high kids that you're playing against, they see you as being advanced. So what I mean is when you're trying to decide if you're beginner or intermediate, right, you need to compare yourself to the players you spend the most time playing around. Now, the way I like to think of it in terms of where you are in your career, how advanced you are, I like to picture it as like a basketball race. Hopefully this is like relatable to other players as well.